Love is a serious mental disease. The measure of a man is what he does with power. I am the wisest man alive, for I know one thing, and that is that I know nothing. Only the dead have seen the end of war. One of the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a harder battle. Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something. Every heart sings a song, incomplete, until another heart whispers back. Those who wish to sing always find a song. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Courage is knowing what not to fear. Do not train a child to learn by force or harshness, but direct them to it by what amuses their minds, so that you may be better able to discover with accuracy the peculiar bent of the genius of each. Ignorance, the root and stem of every evil. According to Greek mythology, humans were originally created with 4 arms, 4 legs, and a head with 2 faces. Fearing their power, Zeus split them into 2 separate parts, condemning them to spend their lives in search of their other halves. I'm trying to think, don't confuse me with facts. Never forgive a friend who betrayed you once, he will betray you again. Never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. If women are expected to do the same work as men, we must teach them the same things. Those who tell the stories rule society. And when one of them meets the other half, the actual half of himself, whether he be a lover of youth or a lover of another sort, the pair are lost in an amazement of love, and friendship, and intimacy, and one will not be out of the other's sight, as I may say, even for a moment. The madness of love is the greatest of heaven's blessings. Human behavior flows from 3 main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. When men speak ill of thee, live so as nobody may believe them. The object of education is to teach us to love what is beautiful. Love is simply the name for the desire and pursuit of the whole. Love is born into every human being, it calls back the halves of our original nature together, it tries to make one out of 2 and heal the wound of human nature. If a man can be properly said to love something, it must be clear that he feels affection for it as a whole, and does not love part of it to the exclusion of the rest. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. He whom loves touches not walks in darkness. The love of the gods belongs to anyone who has given to true virtue and nourished it, and if any human being could become immortal, it would be he. He feels particularly ashamed if ever he is seen by his lovers to be involved in something dishonorable. Then the lover, who is true and no counterfeit, must of necessity be loved by his love. There is no such thing as a lover's oath. Love is a madness produced by an unsatisfiable rational desire to understand the ultimate truth about the world. The truth is that we isolate a particular kind of love and appropriate it for the name of love, which really belongs to a wider whole. The love of man to woman is a thing common and of course, and at first partakes more of instinct and passion than of choice, but true friendship between man and man is infinite and immortal. As it is, the lover of inquiry must follow his beloved wherever it may lead him. Love is a great spirit. Everything spiritual is in between God and mortal. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. Any man may easily do harm, but not every man can do good to another. True friendship can exist only between equals. No wealth can ever make a bad man at peace with himself. What if the man could see beauty itself, pure, unalloyed, stripped of mortality, and all its pollution, stains, and vanities, unchanging, divine? The man becoming in that communion, the friend of God, himself immortal, would that be a life to disregard? The man who finds that in the course of his life he has done a lot of wrong often wakes up at night in terror, like a child with a nightmare, and his life is full of foreboding. But the man who is conscious of no wrongdoing is filled with cheerfulness and with the comfort of old age. Beauty of style, and harmony, and grace, and good rhythm depend on simplicity. Is there a perfect world? A life without investigation is not worth living. If it were necessary either to do wrong or to suffer it, I should choose to suffer rather than do it. No matter how hard you fight the darkness, every light casts a shadow, and the closer you get to the light, the darker that shadow becomes. A sensible man will remember that the eyes may be confused in two ways, by a change from light to darkness or from darkness to light, and he will recognize that the same thing happens to the soul. Pleasure is the bait of sin. Virtue does not spring from riches, but riches and all other human blessings, both private and public, from virtue. The wise man will want to be with him who is better than himself. We are twice armed if we fight with faith. The man who makes everything that leads to happiness depends upon himself and not upon other men, has adopted the very best plan for living happily. This is the man of moderation, the man of manly character and of wisdom. There are three classes of men: lovers of wisdom, lovers of honor, and lovers of gain. There are two things a person should never be angry at: what they can help with and what they cannot. The beginning is the most important part of the work. How can you prove whether at this moment we are sleeping, and all our thoughts are a dream, or whether we are awake, and talking to one another in the waking state? A house that has a library and it has a soul. Death is not the worst that can happen to men. Bodily exercise, when compulsory, does no harm to the body, but knowledge which is acquired under compulsion obtains no hold on the mind. Character is simply habit long continued. A hero is born among 100, a wise man is found among 1,000, but an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000 men. Nothing is beautiful without struggle. For this feeling of wonder shows that you are a philosopher, since wonder is the only beginning of philosophy. Poets utter great and wise things which they do not themselves understand. Have you ever sensed that our soul is immortal and never dies? The first and best victory is to conquer self. Man is a being in search of meaning. The soul takes flight to the world that is invisible, but upon arriving there she is sure of bliss and forever dwells in paradise. Either we shall find what it is we are seeking, or at least we shall free ourselves from the persuasion that we know what we do not know. In order for man to succeed in life, God provided him with two means: education and physical activity. Not separately, one for the soul and the other for the body, but for the two together. With these means, man can attain perfection. Physical excellence does not of itself produce a good mind and character. On the other hand, excellence of mind and character will make the best of the physique it is given. In politics, we presume that everyone who knows how to get votes knows how to administer a city or a state. When we are ill, we do not ask for the handsomest physician or the most eloquent one. The soul takes nothing with her to the next world but her education and her culture. At the beginning of the journey to the next world, one's education and culture can either provide the greatest assistance, or else act as the greatest burden, to the person who has just died. I thought to myself, I am wiser than this man. Neither of us probably knows anything that is really good, but he thinks he has knowledge, when he has not, while I, having no knowledge, do not think I have.